Hello, here's Kramer's Corner with a technical update on the commodities market in this educational video where there's no recommendation or advice whatsoever. Let's start with gold spot. Gold spot I will also often, and silver spot by the way, often include in the FX update. But let's have a look at gold that has bounced off after, that's bounced here Friday after dipping below 4,000. And as we can see here on the weekly, also we can see where we are. We are in this correction area here, lower part of it. Didn't get all the way down to the 3,886, but it seems like we could bounce a little bit. We also have divergence here on the daily RSI, as you can see. So there is exhaustion in the sell-off. So maybe we'll probably have a correction up to 41.70, maybe 42.20, which is the 61.8 retracement of this sell-off piece here, testing the falling trend line could be seen. However, if it takes out the lows here from a few days ago at 3,959, well, then we expect lower levels. Just very quickly have a look at the gold future. Of course, more or less the same picture. Bouncing also could bounce up to 42.50 area, 42.40, which is the 61.8 retracement. Also, we can see, of course, there is some divergence. The silver spots also bouncing from 55 at 55 and forming a bit of a bottom and reversal like pattern. Could bounce it the next few days, but here there's no divergence, as you can see. We actually see lower levels. Excuse me, on the RSI, indicating lower levels in general. But here on the weekly, there's an interesting development. We are just above the upper part of this correction area here, and the RSI at just around 40 on the spot. Let's see on the future. Could be a little bit slightly different, but we have this bottom and reversal like pattern here, a doji morning like pattern. Could bounce there also, and if we add the horizontal line also to this, we're just above it here at 5,900 area, actually dipping down to we were down to 5,569. So a really strong bounce there, but there's no divergence. It indicate it could push lower, but let's see about that in the coming days. Also platinum spot bounced also from around this correction area here, going back to 2025, more than a year ago, almost a year ago. Also bouncing, could bounce up to 1,700, 1,720 maybe in the next in the coming week. Also here we have the future also bouncing, and let's remove this one there and add a new one to this sell-off here. So we can see, well, we have some bouncing levels, possibly up to the 61.8 retracement is 17.25. Palladium also bouncing and divergence there. So we have divergence on RSI on most of the metals, precious metals. So I think we'll see a correction also going on there. On the weekly, we can see it's trading below the 200 weekly, actually bearish trend. So the bounce could be short-lived. Copper also a strong bounce ended the week. It actually dipped below the cloud, but closed just at the lower part of the cloud, open again, and has bounced since. And I think we could see it pushing higher if it takes out the peak from Friday, the 26th at 624.30. Well, then expect a push higher and resuming uptrend. We could see that unless it takes out the lows here at 592. Then I think we're in strong bounce mode, despite the fact that we actually do have an RSI that is declining at the moment. If we're adjusting this falling trend line there, you can see it actually testing that at the moment from the downside here, and that could be, if it moves back above that and above 50 in the median there, then well, it could be a sign that we will bounce further, especially also crawling back above the cloud. That will also confirm just that. Moving on to energy. Well, energy markets, we have the WTI crude oil in the gap area, hasn't closed the gap, but bearish trends all around, bearish or negative sentiment indicating likely lower levels. You can see that massive sell-off here on the weekly, and there is potential lower. However, look at this RSI actually just above 40 threshold, so that'd be key to watch here. What will going on in the coming week? Will it actually bounce, or will it continue lower? Support there at the 67.29. Brent crude oil, on the other hand, actually did just within a few cents close below here. So it actually has closed the gap, but you can see strong interest around this 73.21 dollars a barrel. That and we are a little bit stretched on the sell-off. And if we are looking at also adding a trend line here, because you can see it's actually sometimes more clear to see trends, or more nicely trends, because it takes out a lot of the noise. So if it starts breaking above the falling trend line, that could be a sign we could see a stronger correction. European or Dutch gas also bouncing, and I think I'll just blow it up here so we can see. Bouncing a little bit here off 40 euros. 40 euros seems to be really key on a psychological level. It hasn't been historically, actually, but it seems to be now. If it takes that out, well, then we are looking at 37.90, where we have the 200 moving average coming up. We are in a bearish trend, negative sentiment, but could also turn around. So if it starts breaking back above 43.80, 43.75, well, then I think we'll see higher levels. US NatGas slightly crawling higher there. Still in a bullish trend, but strong resistance there at 340. That really key to watch. But 55 moving average turning around there. Positive sentiment on the RSI, so there is a chance that it will grow, or possibility that will push higher and take out that resistance. On the gasoline prices, that has been in decline also for several weeks now. Seems to be some support here around 284. It's not a support I had anticipated, but we are below the cloud, trading around the 100 moving average. Let's see what it will do. Will it turn around and break and bounce strongly? Here we have a better look at the weekly chart, so we can see it is in the region around here that we have some strong interest apparently. However, if it takes out 284, well, then we could see a push down or sell off down to around the 250, 240 and the 100 moving average, because we're still in negative sentiment. So keep an eye on that. I will actually add a Fibonacci to this sell-off here, although it's not that beautiful, that move, but still we could see a bounce up to around 320 on the gasoline prices. Moving on to something we can actually eat, we have corn prices. Corn bouncing with a, let's see, we probably have a bullish engulfing there. Closing price 406, opening price 406, same open close. So I would call this a bullish engulfing. So we also have the RSI divergence indicating a bottom and reversal. So we actually have a bullish engulfing, and we have divergence on the RSI indicating downtrend exhaustion. So if it moves back above and takes out the little spike up there 422, then we could see a larger correction up to around 440 area. That could be in the cards, unless it takes out the lows there from the 25th and the low part there at the 403.75. Well, then we could see a further sell-off. But we can see here on the weekly really strong support in current areas. Unless again it takes out the lows from last week, then it could collapse totally to 375. So that's something to watch. The wheat just above support here, just around 560, 570. Bearish trends, quite heavy negative sentiment, indicating lower levels. Also on the weekly, we had this also kind of a bearish engulfing. It's not a top reversal, but we had a top reversal there. Continuation. I think we see wheat pushing lower, and it could drop all the way down to the area around 550, possibly 545. The soybeans, also bearish trend, bouncing a little bit, downtrend exhaustion, and we also have a bullish engulfing there, as you can see. So key resistance there at 1140, 40, 41. That should be observed. If it takes out, well, then we have could establish a bullish trend. If it takes out the lows here at 1102, well, then there's potential much lower to around 1050 area. The Coffee future resistance there at 286.70, that should be observed, and the lower part of cloud we can see how it is also giving some resistance, and the 100 moving average coming down there. So that is the key level to look out for. Can it actually break that? If it takes out the lows there from about a week ago at 260, well, then downtrend is resuming. Robusta coffee, more or less the same picture here about a week ago, a little more than a week ago. 3,722 resistance being tested, being knocked back down. So can it actually push it higher? And finally, let's have a look at cocoa. Cocoa is on a run again. So that'll be interesting. Can it actually rebound really strongly? We talked about many weeks ago where we had this bullish engulfing there forming back in March, and that was the bottom. And it seems to be continuing. So both on the daily we have bullish trend building, and we have also on the weekly also bullish trend building, and now we also have RSI the weekly actually above 60 fresh, so further supporting higher levels. And we could in the coming weeks see a push up to the area around 6,000, 6,300 maybe even. There is not much resistance until then actually. London cocoa, more or less the same picture, just below 4,000. Did it actually touch there? No, it didn't. 39.88. So let's see, it could push up to 44.80. Or maybe 4,500 here in a couple of weeks' time. There's a little bit stressed here short term, but same picture with the bottom of reversal and building a medium-term uptrend also. Finally, let's have a look at rough rise. Strong bullish trend continuing its bounce that is started a couple of weeks ago. Now a new high. Not an all-time high, but a new high here, and there's potential higher to around 13,775, where we have some resistance coming in here just below 14,000. Should we just have a quick look at cotton? Well, seems to still have its bearish trend intact. Yes, it went into the cloud and didn't get above it, and RSI rejected 60 threshold. I think we could see it more setback in the coming days, but let's see if it can turn around, take out these peaks and the $60 RSI. Well, then the uptrend has resumed, but it's a little bit. I would stay away at the moment. All right, that's all for today, and have a nice week and keep charting.